Hey there, it's Leo from Firecrawl, and in this video, we'll take a look at how you can use Firecrawl inside of Openclaw. And at the very end, I'll show you the difference between using Openclaw's default web data fetch and using the Firecrawl browser feature. So let's get started. The first thing you'll want to do is head over to Openclaw's repository, grab the link, open your terminal. I'm already inside of my downloads folder. Let's zoom in, type in git clone, and this should clone over the repository to our Mac. And by the way, we're going to use Openclaw inside of Docker. This should be more secure and overall avoid a few problems. So now let's get inside of Openclaw folder. And once in there, you'll want to run the Docker setup with this command. Once you hit enter, it should proceed to build the Docker image, ask you for some permissions. Let me allow all of them. And soon enough, we should see some configuration options. Okay, so the first question is if you understand this is powerful and inherently risky. By the way, don't take this lightly. It is, in fact, a bit risky if you do not know exactly what you're doing. According to which permissions you give it, you should be aware of that. Now let's move on to the provider. I like to use OpenRouter just because you can have access to many different LLMs instead of having only a set of LLMs based on the given provider. So after selecting OpenRouter, let's zoom out, go to the OpenRouter website. Let's hit to create a new API key. This will be Openclaw video. Let me hit create, click to copy the API key, go back to your terminal, hit enter, and you should be fine. Now here's a tricky part of using OpenRouter, which is that you should always have this as the prefix. So if you choose to use a different model, for example, the Haiku 4.5, let's select that. Let's get this model here. Now I'll paste it in there. So it's still OpenRouter / and the model that we picked. After you hit enter, you should be prompted to add a channel. You can skip that for now, or if you'd like to add Telegram, WhatsApp, just follow the instructions and you should be fine. Now you should be asked if you want to use skills. And yes, Firecrawl is available inside of the Cloud Hub skills, but we recommend you using our CLI installation, which you'll see in a bit is much better. So let's hit no. If you want to enable hooks, I like to add a session memory, so just hit the spacebar to select that, hit enter, and now it should build everything for us. After you've executed everything inside of Docker Desktop, the Openclaw container should be running just fine. If it's not, and you go inside of its logs, see that there are these errors, all you have to do is open up the openclaw.json file, go all the way down to where it says gateway, and in the gateway, you'll want to set the bind to LAN, as well as add these parameters. So control UI and the allowed origins. Save the file. Now, once that's done, you can go back to the terminal and execute docker compose restart Openclaw gateway. Once that is done, now let's go back to Docker and you'll see it running just fine. Now we can execute the chat right in the terminal. Let's clear it up first, and this should be the Docker command you use. Now, as for the Openclaw gateway token, you can get that right here. This is the source of truth for it. Let's go back here, add the token, hit enter, and now we should see the TUI interface for Openclaw. Now, before I install Firecrawl, let's take a look at how it would scrape this website without Firecrawl. So before I install Firecrawl, let's have it scrape this website without having browser features. And without those features, it won't be able to click to see more, nor will it be able to go through the pagination and gather more results. In some websites, you can actually fetch for this data just because it's already rendered here. But as you can see in the HTML, it only renders after that click, as well as for the pagination. So this is an example of a website that depends on JavaScript to be able to gather all the necessary data. Now let's see how Openclaw's default web extraction works. My prompt is as simple as go inside of airank.dev and get the 21st top models by SWE bench in the home page table. Let me hit enter and let's see how it thinks about this. By the way, if you want to keep track of what it's thinking while it's acting, you can turn on the verbose to full and see absolutely everything it's doing. So it's first doing a web search. It might have found the website. And now, as you can see, what it scraped was the top 4 models, just because it's actually the only thing it can actually see. It even asked, would you want me to try a different approach, or do you have access to the full table data? I'm actually going to let it try to figure out. So yeah, try your best to fetch the data. Really important for me. Okay, so these are all the ways it tried to fetch everything. So no output, and just overall being slow and making you lose money along the way. Let's start a new session by typing in /new. And now let's have it use the Firecrawl browser feature. The way I'm going to do this is feeding it our documentation on how it should use Firecrawl. So let me paste all that in and add that we should use Firecrawl for web data, install the CLI as instructed, and help me authenticate through the browser. Provide me the URL. After I hit enter, it should start working on that. And in just a bit, I might receive the URL for me to authenticate. Okay, so it just returned my authentication URL. Let me copy this, go back to my browser, hit enter. Now I can click this button, login successful, logged in. Now what? And yes, this is exactly what it should run, the Firecrawl status to see if Firecrawl is connected. Now that Firecrawl is connected, let's have it use the browser feature to fetch for the data we need. So all I said was go inside of airank.dev with Firecrawl's browser feature and get me the top 20 LLMs in the home page table. A pretty cool feature to go along with this is that if you go over to the Firecrawl dashboard, you can click on browser sandbox page. And in this page, you should see all the instances of browsers running. So as soon as Openclaw starts a session, we should see that session in here. As you can see, it opened up airank.dev, clicked the button to see more. And now it should identify it doesn't have enough data yet. Went to the next page, grabbed the data. Now it should have enough information to close the session and answer us back. There is this glitch with the verbosity inside of Openclaw where you have to scroll up to see the answer. So up here, you'll see that it successfully scraped all the LLMs despite it having a dynamic render. Now, as you might already know, you can hook up Openclaw with a lot of different channels, and all of them will now have access to the entire web without any limitations due to filters, dynamic rendering, or any other. That is it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then.